Since our last board meeting, we've had some historians step up to help us do research on the names of some of our schools. And just want to give a big shout out to Barbara Stueve and Steve Lackmeyer, who've come and helped look through our vaults and go through the minutes of our board meetings from the early 1900s to help us do research on who our schools are actually named after. And I know they've got some information to share with us later in this meeting. And so just thank you to them for their dedication and wanting to help us kind of uncover the true roots of whether we have 4 schools named after Confederate generals or not.
We started inquiring because we knew that Wheeler School is close to Wheeler Park, which was definitely donated by early day civic leader James Wheeler. And Wheeler Park is still down there. He was also a early day banker. And he also played a role in developing the nearby neighborhood that the school serves. So I started looking at that, and Barbie joined me, and also Larry Johnson, who's the head archivist for the library system, added to what we were able to discover. So I'm going to tell you real quick about why I questioned that, why I asked Lee, and then Barbie will tell you what she found as well. But basically, we know from city documents that Wheeler Park was named after James Wheeler. So I've told you that. Now in Lee, we have another school where it only had the last name. We have no dedication information like Wheeler. And the only thing I was able to find is that nearby Lee Avenue was named after Oscar G. Lee, according to one of the early day 89er historians. Oscar G. Lee, I think you all would have liked. He, along with his wife Adelaide, funded scholarships for young ladies to go to college. His wife created an after-school program for kids of working moms. Now, this alone does not answer our questions, but obviously both he and Wheeler were people who had no Confederate ties, and they were civic leaders, prominent at the time these schools were built. And that's why I also questioned whether Lee Elementary was named after Robert E. Lee or whether it was named after Oscar G. Lee. Barbie found some very important information. And then, Larry, you want me to just have you tell them what you discovered, or just quote? I'll add it once Barbie tells you, and that'll solve the Lee Elementary question.
In 1910, Capitol Hill was annexed into Oklahoma City. And at that time, these 2 schools were known as the East Capitol Hill School and the West Capitol Hill School. And then all of a sudden in the board minutes, they're changed and they have parentheses around them, and they're just now known as Lee, now known as Wheeler. Wheeler continues that way for the rest of its life. Now, Wheeler is still a school. It does not tell any beginning or ending who the school is named after at all. But in 1909, I found a reference in the board minutes to a Wheeler Park school, and that was in 1909, that they were considering making a school at the Wheeler Park area. This is the closest reference that I have found to anything that would be that Wheeler could be named after somebody. And that would be our James Wheeler that we're talking about. In 1911, there is a reference that there is a school housewarming, and they bring 3 pictures to Lee. They bring a picture of Frances Willard, who was the National Women's Christian Temperance Union president, of Abraham Lincoln, and Robert E. Lee is presented to the school. Those 3 pictures are presented to the school. It doesn't say why or anything. It just says these 3 pictures are presented to the school, and that's in 1911 for a housewarming. But the most influential is in 1909. Arthur Parmalee was already principal of the West Capitol Hill School, which became Lee, and the Capitol Hill Beacon at the time quoted saying that Arthur Parmalee named Wheeler after Robert E. Lee. So that's the closest I can come to any naming of any school, and that was from the Capitol Hill Beacon.